Okay, I want to bounce to, I think my next slide is a Haida slide. So, Scotty, you were just talking about this. I'm going to let you give the cook-off on this, the kickoff introduction.
Yeah, we both neglected to mention Haida on our destroyer picks because while we both have Haida, um, I think we both don't like the way the guns handle. And I'm playing through the British destroyer line right now, and the Haida is ultimately basically as a Commonwealth TD, it's basically a British TD. But man, are the guns floaty! Like I like Lightning, I like Icarus, I like I can't think what the 7 is right now.
Jervis.
Jervis. I like Jervis, but for some reason the Haida's guns feel like if you take the worst of the U.S. destroyer guns and make them even more archy, and I just have a hard time with them. That said, Potato Quality, who is like super unicum, really great player, really great content creator, just all around great dude on YouTube.
Yeah, we're big fans.
He was like, take the Haida. Yeah, I'm a big fan of his work, right? I love watching his videos. And so he's like, take the Haida. And at first I thought he's Canadian, so maybe it's like that. But no, the Haida is really good at like tier. It's got a lot of guns. They reload quickly. It's got hydros. It's got good smoke. It's a pretty good cap contester. I took it out a few times. I think you might have taken it out a few times.
I did.
Ultimately, I went back to Z39 for one reason, because Z39 had hydros. It has guns that don't shoot as fast as Haida. It's tougher than Haida. The German destroyers are tougher, which helps my lame ass out. But the super reality there is I had a really good German destroyer captain. I have an 11-point Commonwealth captain. Like, you've got to be either dumping free XP into a Commonwealth captain, or you just really, really, really like the Perth and the Haida to have a captain that you can take on those boats and get all you can out of them.
Yeah, I'll say I threw up the slide here. I don't know if you're watching the actual slides roll by, but like you said, it was recommended by Potato Quality. When Scott was telling me this, he's like, "Hey, I watched Potato Quality's video. He said the Haida is really great." I said, "It's not. What? He's wrong." and Scott says to this, "He's unicum and you're not." And I said, "Oh, yeah, you're right." And so I did. I was like, "He's got to be right. How is he right? Right? This is the mark of me learning about humility here and going, okay, how is he right?" And there's acoustics. The guns are decent, and the big ticket for me was that it doesn't fight 9s in ranked, right? So Haida really struggles fighting big guns, and so I put together this spreadsheet. I put it here on the screen. Y'all can check this out. What's cool about this is the Haida has 120 millimeter guns. As a result, its HE pen is 20 millimeters. Now, my Haida, just exactly like Scotta's, has an 11-point captain on it. I can field a 21-point captain on my Leningrad. I can field a 19-point captain on any of my British DDs that are premiums, so Gallant. I can T69, Z39, or T61, Z39. I can field a 19-point captain, right? So for me, it was really hard for me to pick a Haida. But I looked at these guns. I said, okay, why is the Haida so great? He said it has the best guns, and I disagree. So I did some math. So I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. I'm guessing not. But there's I put the number of guns on here. I put the number of seconds of reload. I put the shots per minute that this boat can put out. T61, the boat I put in top slot, the boat Scotta put in top slot, shoots 60 rounds a minute across all 4 of its guns. Haida can shoot 72. And then the max damage on the Haida is more. So if you could shoot and hit with every gun and none of that damage was reduced, Haida puts out 136,800 damage per minute, and T61 puts out only 90,000 per minute. That means that Haida can outshoot T61 all day long. Now, I'm going to monologue here a little bit, which I'm already doing, but just join me on this journey. Let's take a look at the HE pen. If you look at the second row in the spreadsheet, Haida's 120s only pen 20 millimeters. The Germans are 128 millimeter guns, and then they get some special German HE pen. It means the T61 pens 32 millimeter armor, again, with my BS 19-point DD captain, not with my 11-point Haida captain, right? So Haida might be able to get a little bit better. It's not going to get to 32, I don't think, even if it goes with IFHE. There's just no way. So T61 pens more, which means those 4 shells per 4 seconds are going to go through more ship. So 90 versus 136 is not the actual comparison, but it helps us understand what Potato Quality was talking about. The AP damage is pretty good too. T61's max AP damage is actually absurd at 3,000. So it does a huge amount of AP damage if you can get the right target and actually pen it. Haida stays competitive, though, because it's got 6 barrels that reload every 5 seconds. Then if you go jump down to the torpedoes, I won't spend a lot of time on torps, but it's actually kind of interesting. You've got 8 torpedo launchers, 8 individual torps you can launch on C61. 13,700 damage. They're going to do 110k approximately. Haida's just got the single launcher. Now it can ripple fire. It can do single fire on those torps, which is surgical, and that's pretty cool. It'll only do a maximum of 67,000 per reload, but you can be a little more surgical. Now, here's the next thing I wanted to talk about. Scott had talked about Haida's guns feeling floaty at long ranges. In ranked, you're only shooting people that are your same tier or lower if you're Haida. So that 20 millimeter pen problem kind of isn't as big a deal unless you're shooting sign-op, right? If you're shooting a cruiser or another destroyer, you're doing great. The other thing you're doing is you're shooting close. All the caps are closer together on a ranked match than they are in a random battle where you're fighting those tier 9 dudes. And so when you're looking at Haida, you're not dealing with the floaty shells. You're not dealing with people with heavy armor. And because you're close like that, 62 knot torps, which you can ripple fire single speed from smoke with your acoustics on, it's actually a pretty capable boat. So, like I said, I was pretty sure potato quality was wrong. Scott reminded me this guy is good at games and I am not. And I said, okay, let's do the engineering. Let's do the math and figure out why. And so I pulled this spreadsheet out of the data that's in the game. And that's my argument now for why I think potato quality is 100% right. Haida is a really solid pick. I did take it out. The reason I didn't play it a lot is because I've got better captains on other boats that are premiums. Germans, Russians, like Sims even. I've got a 20-point captain I can bring to Sims. So, okay, that's my monologue. I'm going to breathe now. Scott, any thoughts on my ramblings there that you want to pipe up on?
No, I mean, like I said, I took out Haida, and having played Jervis recently, I get it. And you're right, and the matches are closer, and you're knife fighting other destroyers, so its guns are great. And its torps, like, me, I'm more of a torpedo destroyer guy. So like having that one rack and only 4 torpedoes on it, and I tried using its torps and didn't have much success with them. If you look at your data here, the destroyer on this list that I used the most in the first week was Z39, which I was like, I hate Z39, right? And if you look at Z39's gun power, like, oh, its maximum gun power is the weakest. Look at that. Its maximum HE damage is terrible. It's got those 150s, though, that if you actually use the AP are pretty potent. But it also has the longest range torpedoes. Out of it, all the other boat I used was Udachi, which has the longest range torpedoes. But Z39 mixes 8.5s with hydros, and I use the torpedoes to effect, and they reload relatively quickly with my Z52 captain that's set up to be more of a torpedo reloader guy, because that's how I like to play the Germans. So again, this comes back to what we're going to talk about when we get to the silvers, right? And we talked about it a little bit last week with the bronzes. In the end, you got to play what you're good at playing.
100%, yeah.
We can sit here and we can talk about what boats we're good at. A guy like Potato Quality, who's an amazing player, can talk about. He did another list that came out today on his silver picks, right? And I don't know how many of them I shared. I will say, to his credit, Sea Lord Mountbatten, another guy that it does a lot of great content creation. Yeah. We've actually squared off against his clan in clan battles last season, or 2 seasons ago, and we won. And we won, yeah. But I Kerr first him, and he's a big Kerr first guy, so that was fun. But his list, he put out a pretty simple video week 1 that was like, here's my top 5 picks, and I think his number 1 pick is whatever you're good at. Yeah. Just play what you're comfortable in, and I think that's super important no matter what you're doing in ranked. I think it's important in clan battles too, but we won't get into that on this stream.
No, and that's a good point. So yeah, definitely wise words from Mountbatten. It's good to see these other guys coming out with their content. And like I said at the top of the hour for this stream, what we want to do is talk about boats and why we think they might be a good idea or a bad idea. We want to get comments and stuff for you guys in chat, and then we want to have you guys think about this and make your own decision, right? You're going to look at this. We're going to talk about stuff. We don't know anything, right? We're just going to talk about some facts and figures that we pulled out of the client. And then at the end of the day, you guys are going to look at that and go, yeah, that sounds like solid logic, or those guys didn't think about this, and so I'm going to take this boat. Or maybe I'm just really, really good at Jervis, and it is unnatural. It's like my hood game, right? For some reason, I can slap people around with the hood. Nobody else likes the hood but me. I think I'm the only person. There must be a hood owners fan club or something, but yeah, exactly. I think Scotta and Scotta, by way of Sea Lord Mountbatten, is giving great advice, which is, play what you're comfortable in, what you're good at, what you can constantly perform in. But at the same time, I wanted to address this because both Scott and I logged in and said, there's like 1,000 Haidas out there. Well, people watched Potato Quality's video and they took it to heart. And I think at the end of the day, the math works out. The big question is, are you good at and comfortable in the boats where the math works out? And if that happens to work out for you, great. But anyway, good stuff there.